Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, Terence Crawford has arrived to support his brethren, his little brother, whatever you want to call him, Shakur Stevenson in his fight versus Edwin De Los Santos. And, of course, he's going to make the rounds and people are going to be interested in asking him questions as well. And so, of course, Terence Crawford was going to be asked about Errol Spence. He said that fight is the fight that's going to happen next, but there are still things that are up in the air, like the weight. He said he doesn't know it's going to be at 147 or 54. He says in the contract that it states that it's supposed to be at 47. I think it's really stated in the contract that the winner gets to pick the weight, and he's choosing 147 unless he gets some additional ducats. And so that's, of course, a part of what's holding it up. He also mentioned that the network, the fact that Showtime is no longer in boxing, is also holding things up. Now, that one there, Jay, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me for reasons that we discussed off air. We need to do a little bit of research on that one. I'm not saying that that's not a legitimate reason, but there's a reason why, if what he's stating is true, is interesting, if you will. Now, of course, he also was asked about the fact that the IBF stripped him of his title. And Terence Crawford's message to the IBF was, the IBF. And so clearly he has an issue with the IBF. He says that the IBF stripped him only after having the belt for 2 months. They knew that he had a rematch clause when he faced Errol Spence. And if they knew that they were going to do that, they should have stripped Errol before he even went into the fight. Now, the issue with that is that if that's the case, you would have never become the undisputed welterweight champion, which you then also said that that was really the only goal to begin with. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me in terms of like that logic, but
none whatsoever.
But he is upset about it, clearly. And I mean, to be quite honest with you, I agree with him in the sense of it really doesn't matter if you've been stripped. Like, just say that, bro. It doesn't matter if you've been stripped because you've already accomplished the goal, which was to become welterweight champion. I agree with that. I also agree with the IBF stripping him. They said that whoever won the fight was going to have to face Boots Ennis next. I'm assuming Terence Crawford told him that he wasn't going to be able to do that. And so it is what it is. And I don't believe, even if Terence Crawford didn't have a rematch, I don't think he was going to face Jerron Ennis. And I think the IBF knew that. So they went ahead and moved on because Terence Crawford is on record stating that Jerron Ennis doesn't bring anything to the table, which I don't think is true. I mean, in one breath, people will say that Jerron Ennis doesn't bring anything to the table. But this is the same Jerron Ennis that they claimed that Terence Crawford was going to fight back in January. So why would Terence Crawford would have fought him in January but not fight him today? It doesn't even make any sense. But at the end of the day, you know, I agree with Terence Crawford in that regard that it doesn't matter. He's already accomplished the goal, and he shouldn't be upset about it. He should just let that go and move forward with whatever it is he's going to do. Now, he also commented on Jerron Ennis, which I thought was interesting. So in one breath, he said, you know, he's pretty sure that Jerron Ennis wanted to win it in the ring or win it against another champion. But if it was him, he would have just said, hey, just let me fight the number 3 guy to win it. And then he said
number 6 guy?
Yeah, I guess it could have been the number 6 guy based off of what Terence Crawford has done in the past. But at the end of the day, he's basically saying that, you know, these guys seem to be comfortable with being email champions. So in one breath, you kind of defend them, but then in the other breath, it feels like you basically took a little shot at them. So I found that to be interesting as well. And we've seen what he had to say in regards to Jerron Ennis and Errol Spence fans on Twitter, basically saying that Errol Spence fans are just jumping on the Jerron Ennis bandwagon. So it is what it is. Jay, what are your thoughts on what Terence Crawford had to say in regards to the IBF and also the status of Jerron Ennis?
I mean, I get him being in his feelings about them taking the belt that he earned by defeating Spence. He makes no sense by saying that the IBF should have stripped Spence if they knew it was a 2-fight deal and they were going to strip the person anyway. So if they're going to strip him anyway, like you said, if they're going to strip him before the fight, he wouldn't have fought Spence for the undisputed. It wouldn't have made any sense. Because he wouldn't have his legacy right now. He wouldn't be the first male to be 2-time undisputed champion. He would just have 3 belts. And then he would have to do what? Fight Boots to get the 4th belt to be undisputed. See how that works? He still would have had to fight Boots either way. So the slap that he did at Boots was uncalled for because, like you said, he gave Boots a compliment in one hand and he slaps him down on the other hand. Like Boots wanted this. I guess he doesn't realize that Boots was trying to have a fight on the 25th of this month of November, which basically would have been for that vacant belt, that for the IBF belt against Cody Crowley. That didn't happen. You know, we've heard that Cody backed out. So that's not Boots' fault. Boots wants to fight and get in the ring. He knows it. So why would y'all say you saw him make sound he's cool with being an email champion? This was going to happen, I guess, but also to understand that you inherit the mandatories of the prior champion by beating that champion. It just don't reset just because you get the championship and you have another you have a contract that you gotta honor by rematching Spence. So just I mean, he's all over the place as usual. You know, I want the butt that's going back at Ray Jack. That's the bud I want to see. I want to hear from and see all the time. I want to see that bud. This bud here is the bud that's going back and forth, flip flopping and moving the goalposts, not making sense at times. You know, he has a right to be upset, but he also has to understand the sanctioning bodies and how they work as well. He should definitely know how they work. I mean, he's been a 2-time undisputed champion. He also had the same thing happen to him when he was at 140. So this ain't the first time for Bud. So I don't know what's the big deal with that, but I just don't like the shots, you know, the compliment, then the backhanded shots he's throwing at Boots, almost like he's accepting being an email champion. That's not the case at all. And same thing, you know, saying email champion with Devin. Yeah, Devin got the belt. Why? Loma didn't want to fight him. What did Devin do? Loma beat the man that beat the man in Cambosos twice in his hometown and then beat Loma. Regardless of what anybody says, he got the win against Loma. If you think Devin was all of a sudden just a favorite, someone darling, he's not. He's not even with Top Rank. So it's not like he was getting preferential treatment. That would have been for Loma to get the preferential treatment. And he lost that fight. No matter what y'all say, he lost the fight. He's not the champion. Devin was. Y'all should be mad at Loma for not fighting Shakur. He ducked out of Shakur. That's a whole different story. But it was good seeing him out, you know, outside of just seeing him going back and forth with Ray Jack. But this right here, I don't like him going at Boots like that. I understand his feelings about the IBF because he wants to see he almost seems like he wants to be like his fans. He wants to hold the belts forever until he retires. No matter if he's fighting a weight class or he's fighting a different weight class. And he knows he's not fighting at 147 no more. He knows that. Just cut the crap and just admit it. I'm not going to be at 147. I'm going to lead that division as an undisputed champion and go into bigger and better pastures for money, not legacy, because he's not going to be undisputed at 154 because he's going to have to make too many fights to get those belts. So just cut the crap. Yeah. You did what you had to do. You're undisputed.
He has a legitimate point when he says that some of the sanctioning body, they seem to pick and choose who they want to show favor to. I 100% agree with that. And they've
Canelo.
And they've in the past shown favor to him as well. I think the WBO has shown favor to Terence Crawford as well in some of those situations in regards to not defending for several months outside of the period associated with their rules. So sometimes you get the benefit of it, sometimes you don't. He's not the champion that got the benefit of it. But typically you get the benefit of it when you are a star in the sport, a big star in the sport. They'll give you the benefit of the doubt because there's a whole lot of dollars to be made in regards to that fighter holding on to the title. So clearly the IBF doesn't see a whole lot in Terence Crawford in terms of sanctioning fees, because if they did, he probably still had that title around his waist. So you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to Terence Crawford's comments relative to the IBF. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are